Good afternoon, my name is John, and this is the Homestead Diary. We've been having some issues with the air conditioning on our 2004 Dodge 2500 pickup, in that the AC hasn't been functioning properly. It's been blowing fairly cool on the driver's side, but not so cool on the passenger side, much to the chagrin of my poor wife. And so we're going to see what we can do about it. Talked to one guy at CarQuest, and he suggested that it might be the mixing ports or something like that. But he also said, honestly, just check out YouTube. Don't worry about trying to, talk to this person or that person, mechanic, whatever. Just go on YouTube and see if you can figure it out. And I went on the internet, and about 90% of the people that had anything to say about it said, I recharged my system and it started working again. There were a few who said I recharged it and nothing happened, but I figure $50 for a recharging thing is probably worth it versus going and having some technician look at it and spend that much just to have them say, oh, it's this, and nothing is fixed. And so we're going to give it a shot. So I bought this brand of refrigerant because it comes with this gauge, and this gauge works on all types of refill refrigerants, as it were. And so rather than spending $50 next time, if I have to do this again, it's going to cost me like 20 or less. And this is a universal sort of thing for most vehicles, I'm led to believe. And so you can look at the gauge, and it says, I don't know if you can see it here, it says that the refrigerant's low. Now, initially, as the AC was getting warmed up or cooled off, so to speak, it was kind of cycling back and forth. It started at low, and then it went up to the green, and then for a brief moment, it went up to the red, and there was some clicking, and I kind of wondered what was up with that. But it was just the system balancing itself, so to speak, so that it was actually working. And so I'm going to check real quick to see if the ports have changed inside at all. It doesn't feel like they have. Passenger side definitely does not have any cool air blowing out. And so I'm going to screw this thing in and see what happens. So it said to do this in cycles of 15 seconds, and so I just did a 15-second burst. And so now it's up into the green a little bit, but it was doing that before, where it would go briefly up in the green, and then it would go back down into the low. And so we're going to give it a minute to think about what's going on, and hopefully we have what we need. Also, I would assume that we're going to start seeing a change on the inside. And so let's see. Cold there, not cold, not really cold yet. So we'll let it run for a minute longer and see what it does. I've never done this before. I know very little about it, but hey, it's still low. So we're gonna give it another shot. We're gonna give it another 15-second burst. So it's doing what it did before, where it went up into the green, only this time it's higher than it was. Now the instructions say do not attempt to push it into the upper part of the green in terms of staying there, because you'll overcharge your system. I'm assuming that means that you would have to release some gas. I don't know. I don't really know a whole lot about it. I'm just guessing at this point. At the moment, no change yet in the passenger side. But we will let it sit here for a minute and see if anything happens. it would be kind of nice if it worked, because I ain't gonna go spend $1,000 on an air conditioner, compressor, or switches or whatever. At least I'd rather not, but I will if necessary. But not anytime soon. So it is still in the upper part of the green, and so I'm guessing, well, it's actually moving a little bit now, so we'll watch it for a minute and see if it changes. Now it's dropping a little bit. Probably takes a bit of time for it to get into the system and kind of cycle through. Kind of like when you're adding coolant after you've flushed your radiator or whatever. You add it till the radiator overflows, and then you run the vehicle for a minute and you let stuff circulate around, and then it drops the level, and then you got to put more in, and drops the level, and you got to put more in, whatever. So we'll give it another minute and see what happens. It's actually cycling back up now. So whether or not this works, this is just a super simple thing to do. I didn't know that this was something that the layperson, so to speak, could do. It might have to do with they changed refrigerants a number of years back, and so now this one's considered safer. I don't know, whatever. But if you've got low refrigerant in your vehicle, check it out, because if it works, it's super easy and relatively cheap. Y'all have a blessed day.